You're tuned in to the Foxboro BeatCast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here are your hosts, is Kaleb McChesney and Ryan Moore.
Hello and welcome to the Foxboro BeatCast, everybody. I'm your host, Kaleb McChesney. Alongside me, as usual, my co-host, Ryan Moore. Ryan, season's over. How do we feel just about it being over?
The grueling marathon's finally completed. Shit was ass, but we're finally through it.
But we have a guest whose season was actually worse than ours. Our good pal MVT, representing the Carolina Panthers, reluctantly. I'll let you introduce yourself for a couple of seconds if you want to let the fine people know who you are.
I'm MVT, Carolina native, big fan of the Panthers. Very content with losing because it's what you do when you're in the Carolinas. And we have some hope. We have Bryce Young. We have a lot of positions available. We have an owner that's willing to spend money, but terrible with his decisions with money. So we'll see where we go after the offseason.
But we don't only have losers in our presence. We also have a team that has made the playoffs. Elsio, he gypped out on us on the Steelers-Patriots week, but we got him here for playoff week. I was able to convince him to show up. So, Elsio, you were on the beat sides earlier this year, but a lot of people might not know you, our BeatCast audience. So go ahead, let them know who you are.
I'm Elsio Rosario, and I run the Steel City beat, which is, the
Foxboro
Pittsburgh
Beat sister page. And when I said good luck to you guys, I got ripped in the comments for showing support to the Steelers page. That was fun.
I am one of the few Steelers fans that does not have a deep burning hatred for the Patriots.
But you won't admit that Jesse James dropped it.
And Bill Belichick. Jesse James did not drop it. I won't give that up. Sorry to all the Foxboro Beat fans. Against all odds, we're in the playoffs. So
another winning season for Mike Tomlin.
We didn't get our Super Bowl of beating Bill Belichick for once in our lives, which sucked, but
what are you gonna do? All right. So let's wrap a bow on this season, okay? The Patriots lost 17-3, I believe, was the final from a snowy Foxboro. Bailey Zappi sucked. Offense sucked. Defense, I mean, they did their job, and you could tell that everybody just kind of checked out for the year. It was done. There was a lot of love shown to Matthew Slater, which we loved. Hopefully, if that's his last game, thank you. Hell of a career for Matt Slater. Potentially like the first, Hall of Fame special teamer that did what he did, just being the gunner down the punt lines. He will be very missed. His leadership will be dearly missed. And obviously the elephant in the room could be Bill Belichick's last game as a New England Patriot. I think it was funny that, as he's walking out the sideline, he had that like hood and the mask on. You couldn't even see his face. Kind of, just fitting that he wouldn't give the photographers a nice shot of his final days in Foxboro. And obviously in the presser, he's maintained that I'm under contract. I'm still here. The whole 9 yards. But we'll get into the whole Belichick thing a little bit later in the show. But Ryan, this first segment's mostly for us. As for the other two who maybe passively followed the Patriots through whether our podcast, our page, whatever, they might have caught a game or two. I'll let them have their take as well. But Ryan, I'm going to kick it off with you. Season recap, okay? We're going to save what's the word? Like superlatives? Is that how you pronounce that? We'll save that for maybe next week or the week after. I want that to be kind of a show where it's just you and I, not guests, because they don't know enough of the roster, enough of the players, what went down weeks 1 through 18. So, but we'll just recap this season very quickly. Obviously, we came into the preseason expecting 8-9 wins optimistically. We are very optimistic about this team, but we looked at everything we had. Improvements on the offensive coaching staff, Adrian Clem, Bill O'Brien. I mean, on paper, there was no way it could have been worse than last year. Absolutely no way. And it was twice as bad at 4-13. pick number 3 overall, but we'll get to the drafting a little bit later. Ryan, sticking to 2023, 2024. Let's put some lipstick on this pig. I mean, how do we recap this? I'll let you take the first crack at it.
Well, to recap it, wow, my voice has faded on me. Okay, to recap it, to tell the blunt truth, it was shitty this year. Unfortunately, it was shitty. There were some positives, though. And you know what? I'm an optimistic guy. Honestly, like, there were times where ranting throughout the year where I'm like, I don't want to be ranty right now. When I talk about my team, I want to talk about them with love. I don't like talking about my teams of hatred because I like being a fan. But this is the
truly not a New England native right there.
So I'm going to talk about some positives quickly before I really get into the negatives. There were still, at the end of the year, I would say some guys that really showed they give a shit. And I want to give, I don't know if we want to do it this week. Like you said, we want to do superlatives next week.
No, I mean, you can give a general idea of players that you like this year. That's fine.
You know what? I know that people don't really value the safety position and all that stuff as much. Jabril Peppers, though, that is a guy that every single football game he stepped onto the field for gave a shit. Every single game. That is a guy. I'm a lifelong fan of that guy now. I don't care how things end in New England. Well, I mean, it depends. But, like, you know, I am a fan of that guy. I'm a fan of anyone that stepped into the season despite all the shitty things that happened and still tried. And so I want to give game balls to those guys. Christian Barmore, especially, as well.
How about Zeke Elliott?
Zeke Elliott, man. This is a guy I used to criticize a lot when he's in Dallas for his ethic and stuff like that, work ethic. Nah, that's there. Listen, I was wrong. Zeke's the man. I would love to bring him back for another season, but that is a guy that really has shown he cares as a good football player. Even kind of Bailey Zappi, even though he's not the quarterback of the future, I do think that guy cares. He's not that good, but he cares.
No, he's definitely got confidence. Maybe it's unjustified, but he definitely didn't bow down in the face of adversity like our first round pick did.
And you know what? Let's talk about that. Well, you know, actually, Christian Gonzalez as well before he got hurt. What's
God? Yeah.
It's like the Vince McMahon meme. He's special.
He was special. Yep, those first 4 weeks. I mean, you'll go up against AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Tyreek Hill. Who do we play?
CD
Garrett
Lamb.
Wilson, CD Lamb, and you play lights out against all of them.
Man, I can't wait for 2024.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be on the most anticipated, but I will take care of the bads for you, okay? I will run through them very quickly.
Let's talk negatives, unfortunately. And there's a lot of negatives. Listen, you're 4-13.
Brown, the worst player on this roster, I think. I mean, just I could go on and on and on for how much that he angered me every single game. Every single week there was something. It was him liking posts on Instagram and going on Twitter and talking nonsense. I mean, me and Ryan talked about this at length. Trent Brown, I don't care how good he is. He's got to go. Today? I did. I don't believe a single word of anything he says. I really don't.
Okay, he sort of was making... okay, I should preface this by saying, fuck Trent Brown.
Yeah, go on the Trent Brown defense team there, Ryan.
No, I sort of agree with it, but it's coming from the worst possible messenger. It's like, you can't rebuild your O-line and also throw a QB in there and expect it to succeed. But at the same time, dude, you quit on the fucking team. You quit. Oh, well, I agree that, like, hey, you maybe shouldn't let a Ted Karras or a, Shaq Mason get moved off this roster and then throw in some rookies that maybe aren't those guys into the spot. Trent, you play O-line as well, dude. What have you done?
Besides,
all
like,
you've done
posts
is
on
steal
Instagram
money and complain and take time off.
Very socially active, that guy, but Yeah, I think that's the number one. I mean, we're all
okay,
disappointed in Mac Jones. We're all disappointed in the receiver core. We're all disappointed by basically the entire offense.
Stunk was right, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We
But
were wrong on that.
let me just pitch it out to our outsiders here. Elsio, I'll let you take a dig at it from any Patriots that you see. I know I think we watched week 1 together.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you caught since then or how much you've read up and studied in preparation for this appearance, but any thoughts you have about as we eulogize the 2023 New England Patriots?
There were more positives, than you'd think in a season where you win with third overall pick. Hunter Henry's still very good at football. He had those first couple of weeks where he was really good, looked really good against us. Even at your lowest of the lows, you can beat Pittsburgh. I mean, you look good against Philly, but that
No,
might not
that
be
first month of the year, there's a lot of moral victories.
Yeah.
I mean, that might not be as impressive now as it was then with what we know about Philly, but Christian Gonzalez, that was a big loss for you guys.
And then Judon, like the week after.
Yeah. And your defense was still solid. I mean, your defense wasn't losing you games. Zeke looked really good when he got a chance, and I'm high on Ramondre Stevenson as an outsider. He's very good, so you've got yourself a nice little duo. Sorry about the Juju experience. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
I could
He
have
did not win
warned
any
you.
Practice Player of the Year awards here.
Ryan, I want to throw this back to you. What did you think of the Juju Smith-Schuster signing when it happened?
Well, okay.
Because I'll
That
tell
was
you my
kinda-
opinion. I hated it.
Was it on the same day as Jacoby Myers, or was it a day after?
It was like a day after Jacoby signed with the Raiders, or the
Okay.
day before. It was like within a day of each other.
I didn't hate it,
I hated it.
but I didn't hate it in the sense of I thought they were using him to fill in the Jacoby Myers role, which is like, okay, they're about before this season. You can disagree, Caleb. I wouldn't blame you. I thought him and Jacoby Myers are kind of in the same tier receiver.
Oh,
They're
I
not-
did too, but I wanted what Jacoby Myers did a lot more than I wanted what Juju did. Because Juju,
they got burned on it. They lost that one. Listen,
like you're replacing Jacoby Myers, reliability, and he already had a rapport with our quarterback. You traded that in for a dude who catches it sometimes, but can be explosive and take a slant to the house. Obviously, he didn't do that this year because his knee was indeed a ticking time bomb, according to Burt Brewer, as we shat on him for that.
we were wrong. We were wrong. I guess that's why we're not reporters.
No.
I didn't mind it. I also did think as well that if you're just gonna lateral move it, I don't see the harm in bringing back Jacoby Myers instead of going for a free agent option.
Like I said, somebody who's already here, already had a rapport with the quarterback, would have much rather had that. But MVT, you've been sitting there silent for a little bit. Let me introduce you back to the conversation. Again, not sure how much Patriots you caught. I know you did a little bit of preparation in advance for this appearance, so I will give you the floor. What is some of your interpretations as somebody who, witnessed something worse?
Yeah, absolutely. Christian Gonzalez, easy to speak on. My team drafted J.C. Horn, who went through the exact same thing. 4 weeks of this is our future shutdown guy, and then we'll see you next year, buddy.
I loved him in college.
Yeah, he was great. It was a great pick. And I'm really hoping that for you guys, Gonzalez doesn't suffer the same fate. JC's just really been difficult to get on the field. But Gonzalez definitely showed flashes. It's what you want in a rookie. I guess the next thing would be just there's beauty in the struggle. You guys don't really get a chance to move on without this season. I feel like if Bill scrounged 8 wins, you're probably getting the Mike Tomlin effect. And it's good for the team, I think. I think it's time for a parting of the ways. I think it's time for you guys to find a new identity because where you are right now is not the place you want to be in 2 or 3 years.
No, absolutely. We couldn't agree more. And we'll get to a lot more of that, of who could be the new identity of this team. Who could bring in the new, give us a little facelift, I guess would be the correct term. Or maybe we just overhaul it completely. Totally not out of the picture. Ryan, you were saying?
I did have what I said before the call, or before we started recording, of a potential scenario for New England reported by some valid people. So we can bring that up.
And we will. But first things first. Oh, wait, we're just going right into the who's given the facelift. Okay, great. So of course this news cycle this week is surrounding Bill Belichick. Obviously there's been a busy day for coaches in general, Black Monday and then Tuesday. The biggest firing, I think, let's save that for last. Arthur Smith went, first one gone. We all kind of expected that. The Atlanta Falcons reportedly have interest in Bill Belichick should he, be available. What else we got? The Panthers totally cleaned house. They fired their general manager. I said that they should have done that when they fired Reich. And then who else got fired? It was
Mike Vrabel.
No, there was somebody else. I was saving that.
The Giants cleaned up
Wink
a
Martindale.
couple of spots.
Wink Martindale. Wasn't there another head coach that got fired?
The Jaguars cleaned house.
Okay, that's not the other head coach that got fired.
The Raiders head coach McDaniels got fired. Chargers.
No, like in the
Rivera.
Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, as Elsio disappeared.
Forget
Yes, Ron Rivera. I loved him to death. Elsio, if you want to just turn your phone sideways. Thank you. Great. Little bit of in studio behind, black magic here. But Ron Rivera gone. Belichick's a Washington native. But all right, Ryan, you totally took my lead, took the punchline. That's great. Mike Vrabel fired. Titans reportedly wanted to trade him, but it's going to be a little complicated. So they said, you know what, we don't want to miss out on anybody that we potentially want to bring in. We'll eat the money on Mike Vrabel, and we'll move on, and we'll get started on this coaching hunt. Obviously, Mike Vrabel, Patriots Hall of Famer, as recently as this fall. Yeah. What do we think of that? Mike Vrabel potentially being the next head coach for the New England Patriots should Bill Belichick not be available. Ryan, I know you have something, but I'm going to save you for last.
Oh, fuck you.
MVT, let's go right to you. What do you think? What should Patriots fans think of Mike Vrabel becoming the next head coach?
It's another culture guy. It's a guy who knows how to speak to a locker room, and that's basically just expanding and broadening the horizons that Bill's offered your team for the last 2 decades. I think it would be a great move. I think that in the same ways that Bill earned the respect of those guys, Vrabel did it in Tennessee. Vrabel spent, I believe, 9 seasons under Belichick's umbrella in that defense. Like, you learn a lot from a guy when you spend that much time under his tutelage. And I think that really shows from when Vrabel went to OSU and so he started moving up the coaching staffs in the NFL, and now as a head coach, I think that you definitely see that same kind of mentality.
Damn good head coach too.
Absolutely. A couple of rough seasons, but the roster in Tennessee was designed to lean on a run back, and in 2023-24, that is not exactly what you want to do, especially if Ryan Tannehill is your guy that's throwing when your running back falls apart. So I think it would be great for New England. I think that it's a positive. It's something familiar. The Patriots seem to ride high on the nostalgia moments, and that's something that gives you. It's man, I remember wins. And to see him on that sideline in a different role, I think would be a very heartwarming thing for a team that's been in the dumps for the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I think an underrated aspect of this is obviously the Crafts like familiarity. They like people who know how to run the operation. They have to keep it in the family, so to speak. They trust Vrabel. The reports are they love him, and they would love this. They couldn't have drawn it up any better, really, than Vrabel getting fired and being wide open, and then it's just, pulling the sugar on Belichick for lack of a better term. Elsio, what do you think of the possibility of Mike Vrabel in New England?
Just from an outsider's perspective, it's your best case scenario. I mean, the year it's probably finally time to move on from Bill Belichick. He's a legend. Even as a Steelers fan, a fan base that historically hates Bill, won't deny that done a lot for the franchise. Mike Vrabel's fired. There was talks about him being aggravated during the season, and he has expressed interest in joining the Patriots staff, and I think that interest is very mutual. I think it's good. Vrabel's a proven winner. I mean, didn't he get a Coach of the Year nod?
2021, same year he made the AFC title game with Tannehill.
Yes, and you're likely looking at drafting your franchise guy. It's good to get a coach in that, as far as we know, can set a winning culture, get to the guys, connect that locker room.
I think that's one of Belichick's more overrated things of him being a leader in the locker room. I think he's lost his touch on that a lot. I think it's proven in recent weeks. I know we could talk about Jabril Peppers talking up Bill. We could talk about some of the players like, oh, we let Bill down this week, yada yada. But I don't know if Belichick is really getting through to the majority of the roster. But Ryan, okay, I know you buried my punchline, and then you thought you were going first. All right, I'll let you kind of break it to the people.
So, I saw today from Mike Garafolo of NFL Network. So Bill Belichick is still here. You and I, Caleb, we both think he's done.
I hope so.
I think MVT and Elsio think he's done. The rumor is that it will be Adam Peters, the general man, or one of the top guys in the front office from San Francisco, who was once a New England Patriots scout, mind you, in the 2000s while Mike Vrabel was a Patriot, will become the general manager, and Mike Vrabel will become the head coach of the New England Patriots. And to add a little fuel to the fire today, one of Mike Vrabel's sons on Twitter was, liking a bunch of, tweets from people saying, like, Tennessee made a mistake. But he made his Twitter cover banner photo a picture of Mike Vrabel at the New England Patriots Hall of Fame ceremony with Robert Kraft. So you got that. You got Ian Rappaport saying after Mike Vrabel got fired, he's like, with Bill Belichick's future in question, something to think about with New England. I think Mike Vrabel's the favorite to be the New England Patriots' next head coach, and it makes a lot of sense.
He should be the favorite.
He should be. And to add on to your guys' point, listen, this is a guy, people will say, well, like, he had a bad record in the past couple of years. Look at what the Titans gave him. They traded A.J. Brown.
A move he was vehemently against, by the way.
Yeah. They traded that for Traylon Burks, who has not worked out. They have a decrepit Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Their offense is centered around a running back that cannot catch the football at all. He's just basically a ground and pound guy.
And he's getting older. And he's getting hurt.
It reminds me of, I'm going to bring up a college football reference here. Caleb's not the most in tune with college football, but MVT and Elsio, maybe you'll get this one. It reminds me of the mid-2010s LSU football teams when they had Leonard Fournette running back. And they could not throw the ball at all. But they had Fournette, so defenses just stack the box against the LSU offense. That's what reminds me of Tennessee here. You don't have a threat in the passing game at all, but you have this all-world running back. But the all-world running back cannot catch the football. So it's just kind of like ground and pound it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Not in this NFL. It wouldn't even work even back in the day, really, all that much. You may be able to get some success, but it will get figured out. So I think Titans management screwed Vrabel, like the previous John Robinson era. From what I've read, Vrabel wanted to compete. Carthon, is it Carthon or Cathron?
Yeah, Rain Carathon or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to rebuild, and so that's the reason why they're moving on. Is that, and I don't blame Vrabel because as a head coach, you should always want to try to win. And Vrabel's that kind of guy as a player, right? He comes from New England. He came from Ohio State. Those are programs and teams that have winning in their DNA.
When he was in Houston, the Houston was pretty good.
Yeah. This is not a guy that wants to lose football games.
And neither is Bob
I don't
Kraft.
blame him for wanting to compete. And I don't blame Rand Carthon either for feeling that type of way either, because this Titans team needs a rebuilding desperately. It just had to happen, sadly. So I really hope that Mike Vrabel and Adam Peters, as is rumored, is the duo. And New England maybe gets a San Francisco guy to runs their offense in the future. I don't know. I think you could create something really fun there. And then, as we're going to bring up later on this show, we got some fun little mock drafts I can't wait to cook up.
Yay, mock draft.
Yay, Caleb hates drafts. I love the draft.
And now I'm forced to talk about it because there's nothing else for the Patriots to talk about. I mean, we could drag this Belichick story on for days on days on days.
It's over.
But
New England fans, barring a miracle.
I'm sitting here. I refresh Twitter every 5 minutes just to see, is he fired yet? Is there anything? I think we'll know by Friday. So
it's like you gotta make a Twitter account. Is Bill Belichick fired yet?
yeah. But I don't know. I think we'll know by Friday if Belichick is going to be here or not. And if he is here, doomsday scenario. There's been rumors of bringing back Josh McDaniels. Okay with that. And hopefully, by the love of God, we're a 9-win team next year with a new quarterback and Josh McDaniels being there to hold the hand of young quarterbacks as he did with Mac Jones, and it worked out for year one. Obviously, we don't want that. We want something new. But if that's the worst case scenario, I think we could do a lot worse than Josh McDaniels.
I guess, but
it's not the sexy move. It's not. But okay, we got sexy moves coming up. We know where the Patriots have landed in the draft. We have the number 3 overall pick. So now, according to Ryan, it's time to have our very first draft conversation on the show pertaining to Patriots, which isn't true. It's the second. We had Ken on earlier this year to talk draft. Okay. But Ryan, he's got a mock draft for us for the first 2 rounds of the draft. Well, he's going to present. No, shut up. Let me finish my intro, you bastard. Ryan is going to run through a mock draft simulator for the first 2 rounds of the draft and present multiple different preliminary scenarios about the directions the Patriots could take in the upcoming draft. MVT and Elsio might have some opinions as well, but I've already alluded to your preliminary solutions draft, whatever the hell you're going on about. So I'll let you do it. The Foxboro Beat draft board. Let's get it going.
All right. So let me preface this by saying that all of these mocks include a quarterback because you need to take a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. That is final. Where the scenarios differ is I have different ideas for the 3rd overall pick in each of these based on what New England could potentially do and what we could spark discussion off of. So I'm going to start with my first one, and this is my favorite one. With the 3rd overall pick.
You're going to start with your favorite one.
The New England Patriots select quarterback Jaden Daniels from Louisiana State University. The 3rd overall pick. Heisman winner, freak athlete, really good passer. He's a really good quarterback, quite frankly. There's some concerns that, he's a little older as a prospect. He turns 24 in his rookie year. I don't care. This is a good quarterback prospect. With the second round pick, which is 34th overall, by the way. So the draft order flips a little. The tiebreaker stuff is weird. But the New England Patriots select Xavier Legette from South Carolina University.
Somebody's been paying attention to Dubs.
I told Dubs, actually, to take Xavier Legette for New England in round 2.
I told him
I
to not
commented
take.
that.
I told him to not take Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3 because I don't know if you've read our comments lately, Ryan. You should. They all think that they should just take Marvin Harrison at 3.
Well, okay.
Oh, you're gonna piss me off, aren't you?
Oh boy.
Okay, we're gonna save that. We're gonna save that.
I don't like this one.
We're gonna save that. I'm gonna no. Shut up. I'm gonna pitch this to Elsio and MVT to give their reactions to the first mock that Ryan presented. What? It was Jaden Daniels at 3, Xavier Legette. Did I say that? Did I say that name right? Xavier Legette. Okay, Xavier Legette round 2. MVT. Let's start with you. What do you think about that haul?
It's a Heisman winner. It's a guy who is easy to build a system around in Jaden, and I think if you do some patchwork in the offensive line in free agency or like second and fourth rounds of the draft, it's a guy that you can really have do a lot for you for multiple years. It's a guy who you can watch grow in multiple directions, especially with a guy like Legette on the outside. Being in the Carolinas, I see a lot of SEC football, and that guy's going to be a great threat for somebody.
The
It's a
real
good
USC,
steal.
by the way.
Absolutely. It's going to be a second round steal for somebody. I think that guy's got a ton of upside, and I think that with the receiving core that you guys have right now, he'd start out seeing a lot of doubles very early, and iron sharpens iron, and I think that kid is 100% iron.
Elsio, what do you think? Jaden Daniels round 1, Xavier Legette out of the real USC round 2.
I'm a big fan of the whole, going into the year, it was a draft class where, at least to me, hearing people talk, it seemed like it was after Kaleb Williams and Drake May are gone, you kind of lost out, hit lower tier. I'm actually higher on Jaden Daniels than I am Kaleb Williams, personally.
Any reason why?
I mean, Jaden Daniels did better in bigger games this year. I like his arm a bit better. He's about as athletic, moving. Daniels is a bit older, I think, but that's not too relevant. And I like Legette, quarterback receiver. You got two rookies that can grow together, learn each other's tell signs early on. I like it, and I would prefer, y'all bring in a new regime to work with them personally. But
I think even if it's Belichick and McDaniels, Jaden Daniels is going to end up fine. I think I trust McDaniels with a rookie quarterback. I do. But Elsie, remind me, what school did Legette go to? Just one more time.
The real USC.
This is
Amen.
my response to bullshit.
All right, Ryan, because I need to give you some tips on presenting segments, okay? Do not start with your favorite mock draft. You save that for the end. That's like the lead up. But, okay, give me your second favorite mock draft, I guess, if we're going in that order.
Okay. My second favorite one, and this is one where they kind of trade down a little bit.
Which I think is likely, very likely.
They end up taking Michael Penix Jr.
When?
Probably around the 8, 9, 10-ish range.
I'm sorry. After that national championship performance,
Washington's O-line sold that game, man.
Or maybe he just crumbles under pressure. Maybe that's the first real defense he's played, and he puked on himself. I'm off of Penix. The Penix has gone soft. The take is soft now, okay? I'm done. I'm done with Penix, not in the first round. Maybe with pick 34, but I'm not taking him round 1 anymore. Off my board. Off my board. Off my board. MVT, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong that he shouldn't be a pick 10.
Pick Absolutely not. You want to like trade back and then use 34 to trade back up
I
to like
hate to break it to you
28 to
guys,
get
he's going
that
top
fifth year
15.
option.
He can go top 15. I just don't want him. Soft.
I would not use a top 15 pick on him right
I
now.
also think there were reports he was playing with a busted rib.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You go step in there then with a busted rib, Caleb.
Okay, Boomer. All right, relax. Neither of us are on the field. We're both watching at home. Okay. All right. Penix at 8. Who's at number? Who's at 34?
Keon Coleman,
Tell me about him.
receiver from Florida State. Comparable to T. Higgins, I would say. Big body jump baller. Maybe needs a little more work in his route running, but this is a guy he's going to be 21 his draft year. Really good at jump ball on it. Makes the freakish grabs, and is an underrated athlete, I would say.
So when you give me that description, I immediately come to the conclusion that this is the type of receiver we've never been able to develop, ever.
I'm operating under a different regime than Belichick.
I don't love the vibe, but I'll pitch this one to Elsio. What do you think? Penix at 8 or 9, and then Keon Coleman. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Keon Coleman at 34. What do you think?
To me, that's a bit of a mixed bag. It would depend on what you got in return for the trade back.
I'd imagine it'd be like if we're dropping 5 spots, maybe a second and a future second, something like that. Maybe something like
Yeah.
that. I'm not good at the draft day trades.
And assuming that you're picking at 8, you would be trading with Atlanta, who would likely take Jaden Daniels in that scenario. Penix is okay. I mean, I was a lot higher on him last week after
Yeah, me too.
semi-final did I was this week.
I was his biggest advocate last week. Trent said I was on crack, and as usual, Trent's right.
You could if you could trade back again and take Penix, I might be okay with
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
Keon Coleman is a dog. I mean, if you're under a new regime, you can develop him. Keon Coleman's a dog. I mean, well, for these receivers, I couldn't help but to think it might have been better if you saw what was in front of you with George Pickens. But hopefully Taekwon does well there too with
Taekwon's done, dude. He's never seeing the field again. All right, MVT. Penix at 8, Coleman at 34, assumingly. What do you think about that haul?
If Penix is your pick at 8, you absolutely got robbed. And congratulations to the Atlanta Falcons for the fleece of the century. I wasn't on the Penix train before the collapse last night. You're taking a 25-year-old guy, and
24.
I know ages and everything. 24. I know ages and everything, but age factored in with the amount of injuries the kid's already had, it does matter. And if your line's turning over for Zapp and Jones, and you don't have receivers that can catch those quick balls that Washington offense did, what are you going to do to your rookie that's already had 4 major injuries? Keon Coleman at 34, fantastic. Love the guy. I love a big athlete who just goes up with his hands and fights for the ball. I was a huge OBJ guy for the same reason. Just give me a guy who goes up and says, give me the football. But if you're not going to be able to have that, again, with a guy like Penix, who I'm not big on left-handed quarterbacks either. I think it just it messes the line up. So I would be very upset if I was a New England Patriots fan and we trade back and then we take Penix.
I think if we trade back, it better be for a tackle.
Yeah.
That's a good
Personally.
move.
Personally, that's just me. Ryan seems to be a little pissy that we shat on that one, but all right. Got any more?
I think it's worth
I
noting
got
that.
2 more.
Oh my bad! I thought you were talking to me.
No, MVT.
So-
What was your thought?
Oh, that Penix spent his time beating up on Pac-12 defenses, which as we did see in the championship game, is a lot different than a Big Ten defense, and then even further from an NFL defense. And if that's the way he's going to react when defenses are in his face and he's really having to like fight to get the ball out, I think it'll be a quicker downturn than what Mac Jones had.
Okay,
Ryan, do you
well,
have a defense, or are we gonna move on?
I do have a bit of defense, man. I watched enough of the game to see was Washington. I almost called Wisconsin. Washington's right tackle give up basically free rushes every single play. That guy, Washington's right tackle needs to get his degree, man. Football not in your future. I don't think it's necessary. Like, okay, I get there's some criticisms to be had about Penix. One of them being his age and injury history. I get it. I don't know if last night is necessarily the most fair way to evaluate it. Just because I don't know if he was completely healthy. Apparently, like he was battling a rib injury the entire game. 2, his O-line was just a fucking puddle, man. They were a puddle. So I do think that if he does get drafted into the NFL, which New England's going to need to provide him a situation where, he could thrive, but that's a lot of guys. I view the arm talent as a rare thing. His arm is special. And I think the character on the guy is special. He's got a lot of dog in him. So I'm high on Penix still as a top 15 guy. I'm standing on that. I'm standing on business.
Yeah,
I do think if you're going to take Penix, you have to take him in the top 15 because he won't fall below that. I'll agree there.
I'd honestly just rather not have him. But
Well, you're going to hate the next 2 mocks, but these are not.
Did you take Penix for 2 straight mocks?
No. Let me preface this by saying these are not drafts I would do, but just some drafts I could see New England doing.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, number 2 is obviously number 2 on the list for me at this point. Let's see 3 and 4.
3rd overall, the New England Patriots select Joe Alt.
Big fan of that. It's not sexy at number 3. I wish that if we did it, we would trade down to like 6. But I'm okay with Joe Alt in the first round.
34th overall, the New England Patriots select Bo Nix.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm presenting you scenarios. Not some of them are pretty, some of them are ugly, some of them could happen, some of them could not happen. Let's prepare you for reality, though. It's a draft. You don't know how these teams operate, so.
Oh, Nix. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Ugh.
He's a 2nd-round caliber guy. It could happen. New England values experience.
He's been playing college since the Obama administration. What are we doing?
New England values experience.
Gee, we might as well just run it back with Mac Jones. We might as well. Oh God, Elsio, take it away.
That's a spicy one.
Yeah.
I like Joe.
It's not one I would do, by the way. I should clarify that I'm mocking in the mind of how I think some GMs will operate.
Oh,
I believe,
please.
The ones I would do are the Daniels and Penix one.
I fully believe Ryan Moore when he says he would personally not do this because I think we all feel away about Bo Nix. It's about the same way. He's a super duper senior, but I do like the alt pick. I think he's worthy of a top 3 pick if you can't really find a trade down you like where you could still get him.
I think this tackle class is pretty good that we could trade down to like 6, 7, or 8 and still get somebody of decent quality. I don't do the O-line tackle scouting. I leave that to our good buddy Cole Diesel, but who I should have on the podcast soon, by the way. I love Cole. But yeah, Joe Alt, top 1st round. Love it. MVT.
Well,
please.
Well, I do hate Bo Nix. I get it though. You all do need a quarterback, and in that scenario, you draft your franchise tackle, you still get one. But
if I can give an honest evaluation on Bo Nix,
Please.
I don't think he's as terrible as people make him out to be, but I don't think he's as good as his biggest defenders make him out to be. He's a second-round caliber prospect. And I think it did take him until his final year to really start dominating the competition, which is a red flag. So
he had to go
I'm
to the
high on
Pac-12
Bo
to do
Nix.
it.
I
MVT,
should
please.
clarify that.
I saw you agree with me. I'm a big fan of when people agree with me. The floor is yours.
Bo Nix is the exact same way I felt about Sam Darnold a few years ago.
Oh,
He
this
is-
makes sense, actually.
He is the lowest ceiling and highest floor that I think you could get for where you want him. Taking a tackle before taking him makes a lot of sense, especially because I think you're going to need to lean a little bit more on the run game starting out if you take a guy like Nix. I don't see him being anything other than, hey, you're here for the next 4 years, and if something really cool happens, you're here for 3 more. Joe Alt, great pick. I don't love it at 3. I'm almost certain you could find a trade partner to still get Joe Alt and maximize that value. But if you're not confident in that, if your best trade offers get you too low to get him, Kaleb mentioned it's a deep tackle class, and there's a lot of options that you can have. But I do think 3 is a reach for him, and I am a huge fan of the guy.
God, I guess I like this mock better than the second one, but I don't feel great at all about Bo Nix at pick 34. I'd rather just
And you might hate next one.
I'd rather just like trade for Garoppolo or something and just run it for a year and then revisit the whole quarterback situation the year after that. But
Listen,
Ryan, give me
the
give me
first
this.
2 ones are the only ones I would do, and you and I can just grab Penix all off season until it matters.
You mean the 3 of us and you disagree with about
Well,
Penix?
you and I are the only constants on the show. As much as I love you guys, MVT and Elsio.
Hey, as long as they keep agreeing with me, they have an open door policy. They can come whenever they want.
Listen, I'm the guy with all the
Soundbite of
swords
Penix
to his face,
overrated.
whatever that meme is from like Disney or whatever the fuck. You know that one. I'll still defend Penix. I think that guy's a dog. All right.
He's riding on Penix. All right, let's see this.
I'm
Let's see
riding
this
on
last
Penix.
draft.
No,
He's a literal husky.
all right. My final mock draft would be 3rd overall. The New England Patriots go with, quite frankly, I think the best receiver prospect in years, in Marvin Harrison Jr. And Caleb's like, fuck.
Don't validate these people. We can't.
Look,
we can't afford
I'm
to
saying, okay, I need to clarify this as in these are realistic scenarios, okay?
If this is a realistic scenario, I don't want to be here.
So,
Dude, this receiver class is so deep. I don't see a need for Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't.
here's the thing.
Trade down with Arizona. Let them do it.
Take Troy Franklin at 34 right after.
Here's the thing. This is you and I operate on different planes than NFL teams do. NFL teams can get batshit crazy. So we have to present ourselves different, scenarios to where NFL teams can get batshit crazy, okay? That includes the Patriots.
I'm doing a solo rant on the draft stream that we do. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is to pick at 3, I will lose my mind. Who's that 34?
So, you ever love when 2 rivals just link up together?
Please, for the love of God, don't do it.
JJ McCarthy at pick 34.
I hate it. 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 Somebody talk me into JJ McCarthy at pick 34, please. Somebody do it.
Okay. I'm gonna
Because I'm not taking him till the 4th round.
I'm
That
gonna
dude is
be
mid.
the advocate here. I don't hate it as much as you do.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, sure, you don't need Marvin Harrison. You could maybe if you want to go the receiver first and quarterback route, trade down, get some value, maybe get Malik Neighbors or something. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is a true generational prospect. That's something that needs to be clarified. Even if you're not really in a position where you should take a receiver at 3, it's not a world-ending pick, and JJ's got some more traits to him than he gets credit for. I mean, he's just 21, so plenty of development time maybe. At 34, I'd say if he wanted him, we'd have to take him there. I mean, there's quarterback thirsty teams every year, man. You can't wait till the 4th round. You got to strike the iron while it's hot.
Again, I'd rather just get like Kirk Cousins or Jimmy G or somebody. Like just punt on the quarterback if we're not taking it in the 1st round. That's my opinion.
This is the mock that's 3. So the first, I would say number 1 out of the mocks I did. Number 1 is a wide gap between the other two, so I should say. Because I want Daniels and Leggett personally at 3 and 34. And then Penix and Coleman up next. And that's a gap. The other 2, yeah, I don't like them. The only reason why I did those though is to present you with the reality that New England might not do things you like this draft. So we have to embrace that reality, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, that New England could get batshit crazy, quite frankly.
MVT, do you have anything positive to say about that one?
I spoke with Ryan before we got on call, and I said that this was the scenario that I dreamed for you guys, and I had no idea that this was about to happen, so this was fantastic.
Why is this a dream scenario? Please explain to me.
I think it is the most enticing to a new coach to have 2 fresh toys to play with as they're trying to instill their culture. I think that you have the best wide receiver prospect since Julio Jones in this scenario. So, like, not even using the term generational as loosely as we do with quarterbacks and such now. Like, this guy's the best in a decade. And I think that McCarthy is one of the more underrated guys in this draft because his traits didn't need to be shown or exploited. Michigan was a force running the ball. And in the moments where they didn't need to, we discussed the game last night. McCarthy on the run, even though some of the balls were a little bit more towards the sideline, they didn't get called catches. The rollout pass to the tight end that went for 41 yards. Like, the kid can move very well. He is deceptively fast. He keeps his eyes downfield. It's the traits that I feel like you want to look for in a guy, especially if you can get him at value in 34 and pair him with, again, like I said, the best wide receiver prospect in over a decade.
If I had to make a point of Marvin Harrison Jr., honestly, this might be a little bold here. I think he's the first son of a legend. I was trying to think of, like, just history that might be better than his dad.
Asante Samuel Jr.?
Not better than his dad.
I think his dad was overrated. Yeah.
Plus, Asante Samuel's, Twitter, all that stuff kind of clouds his legacy in New England a little. But no, that guy was a dog in his prime. Asante Samuel Jr. is fine. He's all right. He hasn't necessarily been that amazing in LA.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, McCaffrey. But okay, I don't know if we're calling Ed McCaffrey a legend.
Marvin Harrison Sr. is in the NFL Hall of Fame. And I think there is a real chance, his son could be better than him. Which is crazy to say, but
I don't know. If I'm gonna rank those mock drafts, okay, I'd go. I think the first one was your best one. I think that one was all right. Oh God. Guess I'll take the next one, then Penix, then the latest one you just told me. again, Penix, I think that could be a quarterback that gets a GM fired for taking him top 10. I think that's a real. I think that's a real possibility. As for the first one, I think you nailed it. I think the receiver quarterbacks connection is great. I wish that we could land a offensive tackle in there somewhere, but I hope that if we get this Niners guy Adam Peters, I hope that he's super aggressive in the draft, and maybe we can come back in that first round and take an offensive tackle. I think that would be dream scenario. And then again, it's a deep wide receiver class. Maybe you can get somebody solid. I think being aggressive though should be the key for this draft. Anybody with any parting thoughts before we get into our NFL roundtable?
Yeah, I mean, if I was y'all, I like Jaden Daniels a lot. Like, that first scenario to me was by far the best, and behind that, there might be some disagreement because I'd actually rank scenario 4 at second to Marv and JJ, and then the other two, they're kind of interchangeable back there. I think I prefer the Panics over the Alton Knicks, but I don't hate the Alt pick.
MVT, what do you think?
I'd rank them McCarthy, MHJ1, Daniels, and Coleman, was it?
Leggett.
I'd rank that 2. The Joe Alt 3, and then Penix 4. I'm just really not sold on Penix. Like I said, it wasn't the championship game that killed it for me. It was the entirety of it.
Yeah, so you have a more developed opinion on Penix than me. I saw that Sugar Bowl game. Like, oh yeah, no, that's a stud. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, he was making some insane throws. I was as the rest of Boston sports radio was sold. They kind of talked me into him, and then that championship game was just a utter disaster. And if that's what he is against real defenses, and we're going to be throwing him out there, assumingly week 1, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. All right, Ryan, hopefully we can get you in a better mood with this segment. We have our NFL roundtable. There's a lot of things going on around the league, playoff games, draft positions, coaches fired, lots and lots of stuff going on. Elsio, your team is in the playoffs. They got a big playoff game, and we're all hoping you win it because we hate the Buffalo Bills over here. We hate Bills Mafia over here. Tell me, what are you thinking? How are you feeling?
Well, I'm not eating buffalo sauce for the week 1 wings, tacos.
Yeah, he's going honey
nothing.
mustard all week.
Yeah, no buffalo
ranch.
sauce.
Buffalo hates ranch.
I'm excited. We came within a result or two with making it last year. Mike Tomlin's a genius. I mean, we really didn't give him too much to work with this year. I mean, good defense is always some improvements.
Okay.
On the offense, and he managed to make the playoffs with it. I love him. I'm a big defender of Mike Tomlin. I probably always will be. It sucks to be without TJ. Hopefully Minka plays. I'm excited to see some Steelers playoff football.
It's been a little while for you, hasn't it?
It's been a second.
Do you trust Mason Rudolph at this point?
More than anyone else right now after those final 3 games. I mean, he wasn't a world beater, but he played efficiently, didn't lose us the games, won us maybe the first one, so I'm going to roll with him.
God, it's just weird to think about. We have a first-round quarterback riding the pine right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. We didn't see that all year in New England.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a disaster. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the Steelers do. Hopefully they beat Buffalo. MVT, obviously the Panthers haven't given you a lot, so I assume you're getting your football happiness elsewhere. What are some thoughts you have around the league right now that you kind of want to focus on and give attention to and present to the group here?
So, in part of my preparation, I actually saved both the list that the Panthers have interviewed for their head coaching position
Okay,
and for their GM position.
great. Let's hear it.
I definitely wanted to hear you guys' opinion. So, for our head coach, they just sent out a bunch of requests. Basically, there's 9. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the
Good.
Lions, obviously had huge interest last year. He rejected them. Maybe the second time's the charm. Bobby Slowick, who had a phenomenal season. Uh, Part of the reason that my fantasy football season went as well as it did great with C.J. Stroud. Hopefully, if he comes to Carolina, could possibly offer the same for Bryce Young. Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan, who's been going through some adversity of his own with his team. Burrow going down. Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, probably the least sexy of all the options. Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald, huge fan. Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith. Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken, and Dave Canales from the Bucks. If I had to list my top 3, obviously Ben Johnson. I really love what Detroit's been doing. They've found a way to really utilize young players, which is basically all that Carolina has left once these one-year receivers cycle out. Really hoping for Adam Thielen to just call it a day. He was terrible. I really like Mike McDonald. I think that's a good culture guy and a team that's been without an identity since the Ron Rivera era. Could really use something like that. I love anybody that comes from the Harbaugh tree. And that's kind of like one thing that I think that Carolina needs more than anything is to find an identity. And then Frank Smith, obviously a very exciting pick based on the year that they've had, having a 70-point game. But Carolina doesn't have the same weapons, and it's hard to judge what a guy who makes his money off of Tyreek Hill does without Tyreek Hill.
What about the general managers?
So the general managers, Giants assistant Brandon Brown. I reached out to a friend of the podcast, Nick Benoist, and said, "Hey,
He was on the show.
What do you know about the guy?" And he said that he's only been with the Giants for a year, but he was highly regarded at his time in Philly. So obviously a lot of upside there because until 6 weeks ago, Philly was looking like back-to-back conference champion threats. Buccaneers assistant Mike Greenberg. Buccaneers found a way to be relevant even after the Brady era ended. Obviously a good option. Chiefs Vice President of Football Operation Brandon Tillis. Obviously, people want to replicate what the Chiefs have done. The easiest way to do that is steal from their office. Eagles assistant Alec Hallaby, basically the same mentality as the Chiefs. If they're doing stuff that gets them to the Super Bowl, you want that. Saints assistant GM Kai Harley. Nice to steal somebody from the division. Not really somebody. I'm not a fan of the push the money down the road mentality that the Saints have had in the last decade.
And they're gonna have to pay that buck like this year.
Yeah, and I don't want somebody that comes from that tree personally, because I'm worried that they just try to instill that, and you didn't even win a championship out of it. You just pushed Drew Brees' little arm as long as it would go, and so I think I'm really out on Harley. Probably my favorite option, Ravens Vice President of Football Operations, Nick Mateo. Just like I said with the Harbaugh tree, like the Ravens, they have a winning culture. They might not be championship contenders every year, but they're certainly in a very tough division of football, perennial playoff threats. And a team without an identity that plays in a weak division like Carolina does, I think something like that really capitalizes on the situation. Colts assistant GM Ed Dodds, he really got basically everybody I wanted last year. I was a huge Steichen guy. he went to the Colts because the Panthers decided to hire Frank Reich without any competition for Frank Reich before
I just want
any
to
other
point out
vacancy was
MVT
filled.
that the second you guys hired Reich, we were hating that the second it happened, vehemently hating that.
Nobody should have liked that, and the people that did were just buying copium, and good on them for it. But it was bad. And then another interesting choice: Raiders GM Champ Kelly. He came in after the big exodus earlier in the year, but Antonio Pierce did great. They did great with personnel. They kind of salvaged what looked like it was going to be a season of just absolute scrambles. And wouldn't be a terrible pick, but kind of like the Dan Quinn option, it's just not a very sexy pick. It doesn't make the people say there's something to look forward to. It's a building block.
So, what's your top 3 of that list?
Obviously, Mateo's got to be number one. I like the idea of Brant Tillis. I'd be lying if I said I was very educated in the front office world and the aspects of them. But like I said, I know that it's a team that's built a winning culture and structure. I don't think anybody questions what the Chiefs have done running through the AFC the last couple of years. And then probably with the same concept, Eagles assistant Alec Hallaby. Again, just somebody with at least recent success doing what they've done and under a tree that has set a team up to succeed for 4 to 5 year window.
All right, Ryan, what do you got around the league that you want to give your take on?
Well, first and foremost, to bring up to the Carolina Panthers search, it feels like Ed Dodds has been interviewed for a decade now. I don't know how many people followed the NFL GM hiring thing. I'm interested in that stuff. Ed Dodds has been around in these interview processes for years, man. I'd be curious to see if he actually finally gets a GM job. Second off, if I have to talk about something around the NFL, I'm gonna shout out I believe they're the youngest team in the NFL right now. And a team that made the playoffs. A team where my dynasty team has a quarterback there. I can feel the love, baby. The Green Bay Packers made the playoffs in their first year without Aaron Rodgers, with the youngest team in football.
And he missed them.
And I want to give a congratulations to them on that, because that is a tough feat. You have the youngest roster in football. You lose one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. And now that guy's tanking his reputation.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm not even going to bat for him anymore.
You come in, Jordan Love, unproven. There's been some highs, there's been some lows, but he's top 5 in touchdowns. I believe he's top 5 in passing yards. I think he's got it. I think, as scrutinized as Brian Gutekunst was, I think that's how you say his name.
Gutekunst is how I've been saying it. Yeah.
He deserves a lot of credit, man. This Packers team, they're feisty. They're a good team. I don't know if they're going to beat the Cowboys this weekend, but for someone that
Cowboys.
It's the Cowboys. Listen, I hate it. A year ago today, I hated the Packers. And a year today, I like the Packers. I hope the Packers do well in the playoffs, because I like what they've assembled there. I think it's fun for the sport of football that the youngest roster in the league, led by an inexperienced quarterback, made it to the playoffs. And I will be wishing the best on them. Another thing I want to say quickly, and I sent this to our Dynasty chat. And oh no, the Ryan curse is coming again, despite the fact that I picked this team to win last week. I want to give a shout out to CJ Stroud for something I saw today.
I must have missed
one of
this.
the most impressive things in NFL history for a rookie. You guys ready for this?
Sure.
Quarterbacks to lead the NFL in passing yards per game and passing touchdown interception ratio in a single season. Joe Montana, 1989. Tom Brady, 2007.
Oh, so this is how you found it.
CJ Stroud, 2023. CJ Stroud, as a rookie, did something that two guys that are unanimously regarded as two of the greatest to ever play the game of football did.
Oh, the Bruins
As
lost.
a rookie.
Sorry.
And people can say it's a little cherry picked. I don't know. That's passing yards per game and touch and interception ratio. That matters. This kid's special, man. And I think he's primed for a big playoff run. Whether they win or they lose, I don't know. I think he's going to have a big game.
Well, you can't have a big playoff run if you lose.
I think he can have a big game, but yeah, okay. I should clarify that. He's primed for a big game, and if he beats the Browns this weekend, prime for a big playoff run.
I don't know. I don't know how comfortable I'd
need.
feel about Houston. I mean, the Cleveland just kicked the shit out of them not too long ago, but was that without Stroud that they did that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was without Stroud.
Okay. So maybe there's a little bit of hope there, but I don't know. Playoff Joe Flacco. That's some dark magic. That's some dark magic. My thoughts around the league. Let's see here. I don't want to dive too much into the wild card weekend, but Trent said this during the week, and I want to know you guys' feelings on this. You guys might know where I'm going. He said that the AFC playoff picture, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he was very upset when the Colts and the Jaguars lost because of the teams that made it in afterwards. So you got the Steelers in the playoffs that made it in because of that. Was there another team that made it? Does he not like Houston? Does he not like Houston? Was that a problem?
Rival.
But like he was talking like some really bad teams made it because the Colts lost, or maybe that's just, or maybe
so
that's
the Colts came in, another bad team would be in there.
And maybe is that just because he's mad that the Colts lost, or was that a genuine topic that like the Steelers are gonna get routed in comparison to what would have happened if Indy won?
Listen, okay. As a fan that goes through the highs and lows of emotions, I get it. I also think there's a little bit of saltiness there. Granted, now Elsio, I'm sorry.
And I don't want to call out Trent. I just want to make sure that I'm getting that right.
Trent, you're my guy.
Trent is a real ball knower, as we've established.
I also do think there's admittedly a little saltiness there. But I also do think Pittsburgh, in a realistic setting, is it a playoff team?
Isn't a playoff team?
Is it? I don't think they. Like, come on, a team starting Mason Rudolph.
Are we gonna put Jacksonville over them? Really?
I think Jacksonville are frauds. I think the AFC just stinks. But
I would have
Trent
happily.
is a little
I
bit
would have
salty
happily.
in the sense of like Indy also stinks too.
I am very happy that the Steelers made it. I think that they're probably the most valid team of the three that were riding that bubble.
I think it's just a whole bunch of stink, and stunk. So it's one.
I want to play both sides of this here. Like, if we really stunk, would we have been in the position where Jacksonville loses and we're in? I mean, we did our part, and half the season we had Matt Canada weighing us down, and we were starting Kenny Pickett, which at the time seemed like our best play. Then we started Mitch Trubisky, and then we finally decided to give the guy we refused to try a chance. He goes undefeated in those 3 games while, he didn't really put up any huge stat lines.
Was Indy really a better team than Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Houston? I don't feel that way.
It's just a whole bunch of
I mean,
like, I think Buffalo, because they've gotten hot, I think Buffalo is a real contender for the Super Bowl. I do.
I feel like Indy and the Steelers were comparable on offense. Indy maybe a little bit better. And our defense was a lot better. Our defense is what has kept us in games. I mean, in a way, he's right. I feel like the AFC, like, it's still the stronger conference, don't get me wrong. It feels a lot weaker overall this year. Like, there's more parity there. Like,
But is parity necessarily a bad thing?
no, it's not.
It
From
is.
injuries.
There's been a
Bengals
lot
being
of
out.
I think parity can be a good thing, but if parity comes at the expense of shitty like football, it also is a bad thing. Parity
Yeah,
is only
like,
good if the competition level across the board is high. Otherwise, it kind of stinks because
with
it's like saying, "Well, we're equally as shit as each other," instead of saying we're as equally as great as each other. And that's the way I kind of view the NFL right now.
with the
Is there's a lot of equal
exception
shit instead of equally great.
with the exception of Baltimore, and even Baltimore had their spells. The top of the AFC disappointed this season. The Chiefs disappointed. I wouldn't say the Texans disappointed. They won their division, but the Jags collapsed.
No, the Jags are
Aaron
probably the
Rod-
biggest disappointment in the NFL.
Well,
Aaron
and that's why
Rodgers
they basically fired everybody there, except for
Rodgers
Doug
got
The
Peterson.
Chargers.
And
No. I'm not saying the Chargers because me and Ken, since week 1, have said that team's not doing anything.
Caleb, I was with you guys on that one. I was low on the Chargers in our season preview.
I didn't think they were like
offense
gonna
can't
compete for the
win
division, but to say that like they were gonna win and have like a top 5 pick, I did not see coming.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that coming from a mile away. I did. Like even if they were
Buffalo,
healthy, I would have been saying that.
Buffalo ended up winning the division because the Dolphins can't beat winning teams, but they were inconsistent. The top of the AFC really, I don't know. It was a weird season. Mahomes and Kelsey weren't really hitting. I mean, I don't know, man. It was a weird AFC
Yeah,
season.
I guess the whole world is backwards when Detroit Lions have a home playoff game. But let's get right to that. Of course, we have our weekly picks. We have playoffs now. We're gonna get right to it. Starting off with the Cleveland Browns, 4:30 on Saturday, going to NRG Stadium that just hosted the. Is it still NRG or is it Reliant
It's energy
Stadium
still.
or whatever the hell it is?
The Lions was the old one.
Okay, they're going to Houston where the national championship game was just played, and they're taking on the Houston Texans. Ryan, let's start with you. Who do you got in this game? And maybe give us a score, because why not give us a score for all of them? Why not?
Let's have some fun. Listen, it's kind of a battle of the state of Ohio allegiance this year between Columbus's chosen son and the new state of Ohio, at least in the northern side of the state, new prodigal son and Joe Flacco. With that being said, I'm loyal to the city of Columbus, Ohio. Give me my guy CJ Stroud. Houston Texans win 28-24.
MVT, let's hear it.
It's so hard to bet against good defense in the playoffs, especially when the other side of that defense is led by the greatest playoff performer in a single season in NFL history. Give me Joe Flacco.
Oh, Ryan's
give me the
mad.
Browns.
You said something that pissed him off, Ryan. What was it?
Listen, I've seen Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. do shit. A lot of special shit in the playoffs. I'm not hearing 2013 Joe Flacco, though, right now. No, I'm not hearing it. No.
You can see it on Saturday, 4:30.
So what's the score?
Give me Cleveland 27-13.
27-13.
All right.
Elsio.
Let's have a
All
bet,
right.
MVT. I get CJ Stroud of the Texans win.
Nope, not happening.
Hear
Elsio.
me out. Hear me out. It's the Cleveland Browns. They're going to remember who they are. The Cleveland Browns are not going to make any noise in the playoffs. Their defense, their defense was good and fine. Flacco's been an inspiration. But it's the mistake by the lake, man. It's the Cleveland Browns. Just remember, you can say Houston hasn't had a winning culture lately either, but D'Amico Ryans came in and changed that. I just maybe I'm biased, but I'm gonna take the Texans by a comfortable 42-21 win.
Jesus Christ. The mistake by the lake had me laughing. I hadn't heard that before. Okay. The Caleb McChesney prediction. I'm with MVT. I love that Cleveland Browns defense. Joe Flacco is cooking right now, and he is in his peak playoff Joe mode. I think Houston will be competitive, but it's gonna slip away. I think Stroud, he's gonna finally kind of, I don't want to say come back down to earth, but he's gonna have his rookie moment. Eventually the spotlight's gonna be a little too hot. He's gonna have to learn how to lose before he learns how to win. All the cliches in the world. Give me the Cleveland Browns 35-20. Great. Let's go to Kansas City. This game, I'm pretty sure, is Peacock exclusive. Am I wrong?
It's also gonna be cold as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, sub-freezing temperatures. The Miami Dolphins. I wish it was colder, according to that Mike McDaniel T-shirt from last year. He's going to Kansas City, play the Chiefs in Arrowhead. I think this game could be sneaky competitive. I do. I think it could be sneaky competitive. Both these teams have struggled all year long with weird kind of ups and downs. You never know who's going to show up and play. I imagine that Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert will be back. But Elsio, I'm going to kick it off to you. Chiefs, Dolphins, Arrowhead, sub-zero temps. What do you think?
This is tough. I mean, I want to say, the weather's an advantage to the Chiefs, right? The Dolphins, they're playing in Miami. Miami's probably a nice, crisp, I don't know,
70 degrees,
50
yeah.
degrees right now.
It's 70, bro.
It's gonna
They don't get under 50.
It's going to be sub-freezing, but the Chiefs have been weird. Kadarius Toney could always throw a pick six. And the Dolphins can't beat a winning team. Something's gonna have to give here. I think there's gonna be a scrap. The Dolphins pass rush is a bit trained, but
But dude, they had to sign a bunch of guys at the street for their
they
D-line and pass
they
rush.
did pick up like 2 guys off the street today.
They got like Bruce Irvin, like Melvin Ingram, man. This is 2014. That's the scariest pass rush people in the league.
Give me KC 20-14 or something like that. A really
Super
close
competitive game. Yeah.
Yeah.
MVT, kicking it to you.
It's a cool game. That football hurts coming down. I think this is going to be a battle of the trenches more than anything. And if I'm going to send anybody into the trenches, let it be the reigning Super Bowl champions who know how to win that fight.
Chris Jones.
Just got his incentive this weekend. He's riding a high. That team has underperformed, certainly, but those struggles definitely haven't been as much in that front on both sides of the ball. And just because of that alone, give me the Chiefs, and I'm going to say 31-20.
2 possessions.
Shutout from Pacheco.
Do you guys know that Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game? Could be a reality next week. Ryan, what do you think of this game?
Well, here's the thing. It's cold as shit in Kansas City next weekend. Miami, listen, we can talk about their explosiveness also. I'm sure Tyreek Hill is going to be very motivated to want to stick it to the Kansas City Chiefs for whatever reason. Here's the thing. You can't teach cold and you can't teach the weather. You're either with it or you're not with it. Tua Tagovailoa, I don't see a guy that can handle the cold weather. This is a Hawaii kid, played in Alabama and has played in Miami. He doesn't have a good enough arm to begin with. And there's been cracks leaking that have shown that. And I know Kansas City hasn't been the most consistent football team out there this season. They're still a team with a proven track record of success. And you're coming into their stadium where it's ice cold. They got the angriest runner in football going against a depleted freaking front seven. Give me Kansas City. I think it'll be 35-10.
Ooh.
For me, I guess I'll be a little different here. I will buy into the fireworks show of Mike McDaniel to Tyreek, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Waddle. They got a lot of speed. It's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be one of those. It's going to be a weird game. It's going to be super weird, one way or the other. But I don't know. Something feels off in Kansas City. It don't feel right. Nothing feels right over that operation. I think they're going to come in tired. It's going to be kind of a drag season. They're going to get frustrated. Vic Fangio, I imagine, can cook up something for Patrick Mahomes with that defense. Again, it's depleted. Not a whole lot of stuff going on there. Bradley Chubb playing the end of that Ravens game. What the hell were they thinking? But in a battle of wills, I'll take my chances with the Dolphins. I'll take my chances. Give me 24-17. Not high scoring. I backed out on that. But it's going to be a lot of big plays that kind of stall later in the drive when you get closer to the end zone. It's going to be explosive, but not really, if you get my gist. 24-17, I'll take Miami. I'll be the lone guy taking the Dolphins. But if they win, they're getting their ass kicked next week. Whoever wins this game is getting their ass kicked next week. Up next, on Sunday, I'm going to save Elsio for last on this one. The Pittsburgh Steelers headed to Buffalo to take on the Bills. MVT, I'd start with you, but you're in the middle, and I like having this little rotation going on. So, Ryan, I will start with you. Pittsburgh and Buffalo. What do you think?
Okay. I'm going to say this as nicely as possible. Mason Rudolph is starting a playoff game. And I hate the Buffalo Bills with every fiber of my being. But, once again, Mason Rudolph is starting a playoff game. I think Buffalo wins this quite handedly. No TJ Watt either. Buffalo wins it quite handedly.
Score?
I'm going to say I think Tomlin can ugly it up a little bit. But Buffalo's going to get at least 4 touchdowns, or at least get to that range. Give me 28-7.
Oh. Ugh. MVT, do you have any optimism for our good pal Elsio?
I did before the injury reports. So TJ Watt missing the game definitely hurts. Minka Fitzpatrick likely to miss. Not what you want. So it's really hard to be optimistic about Buffalo. Before I get into my analysis, though, I just want to say it is a terrible idea for the NFL to hide a playoff game behind the paywall of Peacock.
Is this the one that's on Peacock?
No, it's
the
I thought it was the Chiefs
night
one.
game. Yeah, the Chiefs game.
Okay.
I just forgot to mention.
Oh yeah, it's a terrible idea. That's capitalism for you. We don't need to get much further, right?
No, but just to get that out there, not a good move. As far as this game goes, also not a good move. It just perpetuates the idea that Mike Tomlin is an efficient coach, and if efficient is going above 500, that's cool. But this is a guy that's won a playoff game only 4 years of his tenure there. And 2 of those, they went to the Super Bowl. 1 of them, they won it. But when you look at how long he's been there and how ineffective his playoff record is, what's the point in going above 500? And I think that exact question is going to be shown during this game. What was the point of the Steelers making the playoffs? They're going to get steamrolled. Give me 31-9 Buffalo.
Jesus, not even a touchdown. Not even a touchdown. Elsio, do you have any optimism here?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe false, but I have optimism. It might sound at some points like I'm trying to convince myself or convince you all of something, but just bear with me.
Okay. We'll sit you here. Take us for the ride.
There were 3 quarterbacks this season that had a QBR of 112 or more for 3 straight games. Those names were Brock Purdy,
Huh.
who was an MVP candidate, but
He's top 6, remember.
now. Dak Prescott, who got noise as an MVP candidate, and Mason Rudolph
Murder's row right
in
there.
his 3 starts. Mason Rudolph can cook. That's all I'm saying. But the Buffalo Bills squeaked out a divisional win because the Dolphins can't beat a winning team. No matter where the game is, they can't beat a winning team. A team over 500. If Buffalo comes out inconsistent, a little bit wonky, even without TJ, unfortunately, we'll be without him for the rest of the season, probably. Rather that's 1 week or 4.
Really? You think he'll be out if you guys like make a run?
Yeah, it's an MCL sprain. Even
feel
without
gutted,
me, we could take advantage of mistakes. Josh Allen's been a bit turnover prone. We just gotta control the pace of the game, man. If we win, it's gonna have to be low scoring. I'd say like 17-14, if that. So maybe I convinced you, maybe I didn't, maybe I convinced myself. Maybe
So
I didn't.
17-14 Steelers win. That's the road you see.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's our best shot.
Okay. See, I agreed that I think if the Steelers win, that's how it's going to be. Unfortunately, that is where our similarities die. I'm with MVT all the way here. It's like almost to the score. Almost to the score. But I will give you a touchdown. 31-10. I think that will be the
Thank
end.
you for the
I think the game will go into halftime tied 10-10. I do. They're just gonna smoke you in the second half.
That'll be painful to see if that happens.
Up next, I kind of want to lead off Ryan with this one too. Green Bay headed to Dallas. If Rodgers was on this team, Dallas Cowboys fans would be having PTSD of that. What was it? Jared Cook, that sideline catch. One of the most unbelievable catch and throws I've ever seen. But I will stick to the order. Elsio, lead this off. Green Bay at Dallas. What do you think?
Well, there was concern with Dallas. Can they win a playoff game without winning the division? They won the division. They're at home, so that helps Dallas a lot because on the road this year they were kind of dreadful. Green Bay's fun. I actually do like Jordan Love. He has some inconsistencies, but
Like throwing the
nothing
ball,
that
yeah.
can't be fixed. I like Jaden Reed. They're just fun, but Dallas has a really good defense that can abuse a inexperienced quarterback and a young receiving core. Micah Parsons will probably have at least 5 sacks.
Steph Gilmore is licking his chops playing against Christian
Yeah.
Watson, Romeo Dobbs, and Jaden Reed.
I have Dallas winning pretty convincingly at like 28-0, but that's not to diss the Packers. Dallas is just that good.
All right, Mikey VT, let's hear it.
Ryan made a great point earlier. Green Bay's the youngest team in the league. They were a fun story. If you don't hate the Packers, I know a couple of friends of the podcast do, but just like Dak's favorite part or Dak's MVP candidacy, it was a good story for like 4 weeks. It's done. Dallas is not a team that I enjoy. I do not believe in Mike McCarthy, but I believe that this is just soft serve ice cream for them. I think that they just absolutely roll. Give me 35-14.
On the
I
way to
think
get
that
their ass kicked at Levi Stadium next week.
oh, absolutely. But that's next week's conversation.
All right, Ryan,
Oh, man.
give some support to the Packer backers.
Okay. Unfortunately,
Ryan's like, yeah, I don't believe in this shit.
I think Dallas is going to win. Now, I would love for a Dallas collapse.
Oh, I can see it too. I can see that
I can
universe.
see it. Listen, I think these Packers got heart. They got spirit. There is inexperience and youth on their side, but they got that X-dog in them. They got that dog in them. And I think they're going to keep it very close. And I think close enough to make Cowboys fans sweat. Give me 21-17 Dallas.
All right.
Now listen,
God.
let me say this. I'm cheering on the Packers this weekend.
Okay, Jordan
feel
Love
the
jersey
love.
yet?
If they go far enough in the playoffs, you'll see me at the end of the season in a Jordan Love jersey.
If the Patriots hire Mike Vrabel this week, you'll see me next week in a Mike Vrabel jersey.
Hey, I should show this off. I got a Mike Vrabel signed Patriots helmet sitting here that I got for my 20th birthday.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I'll throw that. I'll try to throw that on my big ass head.
Like the Belichick Navy helmet?
Yeah. I'll try to throw that on, and I will wear it for a little bit of the show before I get a headache.
If we hire Vrabel. Yeah.
If we hire Vrabel.
All right. Packers Cowboys. God. I think Ryan is a little closer to it than you guys are. I think that the Cowboys in the playoffs, there's just something weird about it. That they don't know how to win convincingly. That being said, it's going to be a low scoring game because, like I said, Stephon Gilmore is licking his chops at the thought of playing these young receivers. Like that dude, Stephon Gilmore, top 5 Patriot for me all time. Love him. Love Steph Gilmore. Give me 17-14 Dallas. But it's going to be reminiscent of that Niners playoff game a couple years ago where Jimmy G was like throwing picks and they still ended up winning. Yeah, it's gonna be a weird game. Jordan Love. I think it's gonna be Jordan Love that sells it, truthfully. Missed passes on third down. That's what it's gonna be. Jordan Love on third down.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. Up next, I'm gonna go first with this one. I have some thoughts for this game. The Rams, Matthew Stafford, headed to Detroit, take on the Lions. I can't wait for this Lions season to end. I can't wait. This team, so annoying. Dan Campbell, annoying. Lions fans, annoying. They're good for one season, and all of a sudden they think they're hot shit. And of course, this Michigan national championship win doesn't help. I am sick of the Lions. I am sick of them getting cute with referees and then bitching when they don't go their way. I'm tired of it. Now, they're going against a really well-coached team, a really good roster. I think the Lions, I think this moment's too big for them. I do. I don't think they're built for it. I think they're soft. I think they're pansies. And I was going to say some really R-rated words, but I'll stick with flowers. They're pansies. They're not built for this big moment. They're a bunch of chokers. Dan Campbell, not a good head coach. That team's going to collapse when Ben Johnson leaves. Give me the Rams in a convincing 41-17. That's my thought. Lions, get the hell out. Tristan, I hope you're watching. Elsio.
That was very specifically hostile. Let me try to gather myself.
I can't deal with this Lions thing.
And Campbell is not a terrible head coach.
He doesn't know his ass from his elbow when it comes to game planning. He doesn't.
That doesn't matter.
Game management, he doesn't have a clue.
But I mean,
you stick Ryan out there, though. It's the same process.
I do think that the Rams are a better coach team.
It's not even
very
close.
high. I've never really wavered on Sean McVay. I'm still very high on Sean McVay. He's one of the better coaches in the league. Stafford's healthy, Kyron's healthy. You got Cup and Puka. Great offense. Sneakily good defense. Their defense was a lot better than I thought it would be this year. I think that the Rams will win just because McVay has that playoff experience edge. And I do love the construction of the Rams roster, which I did not think I'd be saying. I thought they'd suck again. I think the Rams win, but it's a pretty close game just because Ben Johnson's a wizard and Detroit. I think they have heart. I don't think they're pansies like you.
Oh, they're
little.
pansies. They're total pansies.
I got 31-28 Rams.
They're soft, Mike.
Yeah, I guess I did. I did have a little Felger moment, didn't I? Speaking of Michaels, MVT, what do you think of this one?
I am so excited. This is my favorite game on the docket.
Oh, me too. Me too.
When script writers went crazy, you bring Matthew Stafford home for a playoff game in Detroit, the first time in 32 years, 33. Fantastic. He gets to come back as a champion to a place where he got his start, where the guy literally gave everything. I love this Lions team. And not just because they boosted my fantasy numbers, but they're fun. I think that keeping Jamar Gibbs on a low count all season is going to pay off. I think that there's going to be a lot of really fun plays that you're going to see on the field. McVay's staff in their bag versus what Ben Johnson can offer for Detroit. I like Dan Campbell. I like a vibes coach. I like a guy who
you can like him, but he's
just...
still not very good.
Well, no, but that's the brilliance of a vibes guy is hey, just go play your heart out for me, and whatever happens, we're cool.
And they only go so far.
They do only go so far, and that's why I'm picking the Rams this week. But give me the Rams in a shootout. Give me 38-34.
You should make that really 35. 34 is a weird number.
We can make it 35. That's fine.
34 is a weird. That might be scoregami. 38-34.
I think that Goff will have a really competent game. I really think there's going to be a lot of electric plays coming from both sides of running the ball. The Gibbs-Montgomery spearhead versus Kyron. I think that you're going to see at least one solid bomb on each side. Maybe less of a bomb from Goff and a catch and run. But I think you're going to have two huge offensive passes on both sides of the ball. And I think this is just going to be the most exciting game the NFL has to offer this weekend. Only it misses out because the Kansas City game's cold. But definitely this one has a lot more than just football. There's a lot to go on behind the scenes with it as well.
Yeah, production crew, I imagine, is going to be in their bag for this one. Ryan, how do you feel about this one?
Well, I think the script writers really envisioned something perfect with this one. And I think Matt Stafford walking to the place he called home for 13 years, I believe, 12 or 13 years.
Yeah, that sounds right.
2009 to 2021, it'd be 12 years. He's going to walk in there with a chip on his shoulder, his heart on his sleeve. And the Los Angeles Rams, who I was not very high on, but they nailed the draft and they have a bunch of impact rookies and impact young players. They're going to come in there and I guess maybe shock the world. I don't know if it's just shock the world.
If anybody is shocked if the Rams win, they need to get off the magic carpet. Okay, the ride's over.
So I think the Rams are going to come in and wouldn't say dominate, but they're going to win.
Win convincingly?
Win convincingly enough that's by the fourth quarter, you're like, okay, can we just get to the next game?
So you're not feeling 41-17?
I'm not gonna say 41-17. I'm gonna say 24-10.
Low scoring, really.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I could be wrong on that one.
I have a gut feeling that the Lions are going to get throttled.
Is this our first unanimous pick?
Is it?
I think we all went Rams this time. I can't think of any other unanimous one.
Listen. Did we all go Dallas? Yeah, I think we all went Dallas. Yeah. Okay. So second. Yeah, I don't feel good about this Lions team. There's something to it that just doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't. I think that's coming apart at the seams. I do. I think it's on the burst of just they're gonna realize that they're not really that good.
And I'll say this right now. Tristan, I'll soften the blow for you, buddy, if you're listening.
Tristan hates me. Tristan hates me right now.
Tristan loves me. Tristan, I don't come from a place of malice like Kaleb does. Ideally, I actually I'm a little lion pilled. But
so you were just NFC North pilled.
I am NFC North pilled. You know what? You can see me in like every single NFC North jersey. But
you have a Randy Moss jersey. All you need. Do you want to borrow my Mitch Trubisky Bears jersey?
I got Devin Hester Bears jersey actually.
There you go. So you just need that Love jersey.
I need my Jordan Love jersey, and I'll show up in
Calvin Johnson. Yeah.
Theo
Riddick. That's the guy.
Theo Riddick. I'm gonna show up in a Lions Jamie Collins jersey. I already have a Patriots Jamie Collins jersey.
Oh,
why not a Lions Jamie Collins jersey?
Love Jamie Collins.
Let's get a Dan Campbell jersey.
Vomit. Ryan, I'm looking for a new co-host if you wear a Dan Campbell jersey. Okay. Enough of this. We'll just stop with that. Listen, if you want the former player coach, if you want the former player coach who's like all aggressive and I don't want to say vibes coach because I think this coach is a lot more than just vibes. I think he's genuinely a very smart X's and O's coach, and I think he knows how to use his tools really well. Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel is 100 times the coach Dan Campbell is. I do.
You know who else is a good former player that is bringing good vibes? D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
Former player? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know D'Amico Ryan's a former player?
No.
He was a stud linebacker for the Texans and the Eagles, man.
Yeah.
That guy was a beast.
The more you know. Did Mike Vrabel coach with D'Amico Ryans on the roster back in the day? Or is he too old?
No. D'Amico Ryans was like on the Texans in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, and they went to Philly.
Vrabel didn't get there till like 2015,
D'Amico Ryans, man, he is so fucking good.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Teddy Bruschi is also a coach.
Defense like him, like Trent Cole, Brandon Graham.
Gotcha. Okay, that was good defense. That was some good years for Philly. But Teddy Bruschi is also a solid coach. He's I think the assistant coach in for the University of Arizona.
You know what? New England should just go embrace full nepotism. Let's bring out
I was telling our good buddy No Fist, Travis, this earlier, and I know we're delaying on this last game, but nobody gives a shit about this last game. I was telling Travis this, like, let's do Vrabel head coach. Let's do Wes Welker offensive coordinator. Let's get Bruschi. Let's keep Mayo. Let's just get all the former Patriots players. Let's do it.
Let's call up Tom Brady. Let's see.
Brady wants nothing to do with coaching. GM. Brady wants nothing to do with it. He wants nothing to do with it.
Tom Brady GM. Let's go.
Yeah.
Listen, GM. I think we all know how this Monday night game is going to go. I think we do. Tampa Bay won the division, won the worst division in football. They're taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, who are losers of 5 straight, or is it 6 straight now?
Trash versus trash.
It's 4 straight.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
Give me Tampa by a lot. 35 to 10. And this isn't a pro Baker Mayfield thing because everybody on this podcast knows how I feel about Baker Mayfield.
Oh, but let me pick next then. I'll sing the anti-Tampa fucking tunes. Give me the ass pushers. Give me the ass pushers, baby, in the most ugly, sloppy shit fest of a football game ever.
Do you hope it rains?
Yeah, I want to see like a prime 2006 ass football game out here. Let's get ugly.
Let me check the weather in Tampa for this
I think it
weekend.
was Miami and Pittsburgh. I don't know if anybody remembers that game. It was like 2006. It was rainy, muddy, and shitty, and it ended in the most ugly football game ever, man. It's on YouTube. Watch that. If you want to fall asleep at night or just if you're psychotic enough. I want a game like that.
No rain in Tampa this weekend.
A game where I can have some beers or some alcoholic beverages too, and just be like, that's ugly. Yeah, this game sucks, quite frankly. And you know what? I'll say this right now: if the Eagles lose this game, Nick Sirianni, pack your shit.
Yeah.
If you lose to Todd Bowles, who wasted the greatest football players ever's last freaking season.
I've paid to hear about this all year, guys.
Yeah. And you're going to hear it for one last time. Maybe, you know what? You better pray Tampa doesn't go far because I'm going to keep on ranting and bitching. But
then I need to get Trent for every episode.
And you know what? Trent, I will just talk over Trent and be loud and as obnoxious as fucking assholey as possible.
Good content. It's good content.
Is it good content? It's just going to be me yelling into my computer.
Listen, I love Trent. I think Trent is like the great. Well, he's like the. I don't want to disrespect anybody who's come on the show, but Trent is the perfect guest to have because he's just contrarian enough to push Ryan's buttons as much as I do, and I love it. That's how we get the most out of Ryan is when we push his buttons, and Trent is the only person who does it as good as I do. I love Trent, and yes. Tom Brady's 2022 season wasn't great, but he shouldn't have come back. Period.
Yeah.
Should have stayed retired. That's on
agree.
That's on him. Okay? That's on him. Drink your copium, dude. Drink the copium.
He should have stayed
There's a reason why
that right away.
A former offensive coordinator.
Yep, I'm done. MVT. What do you think about this game?
I think that the Eagles refine their identity. I think that it's a sloppy but consistent type game. I think you're going to see a lot of 3-and-outs happening. And the Eagles just kind of like chump yarding the first half. I think Tampa tries to open the playbook and it just doesn't work for them because I've seen Baker Mayfield and what he has to offer, and it's nothing. So give me the Eagles and give me 20-14.
Okay. Elsio? Ryan, put your goddamn finger down. Jesus Christ.
I'll open up that the Eagles, they made the Super Bowl last year. They have playoff experience. They're successful. But, man, that doesn't matter. They were some Shane Steichen merchants, man. They blow one of those 4 losses in a row. The Arizona Cardinals. Where are they picking the draft?
Hey, respect the Arizona Cardinals.
Where are the Cardinals in the playoffs? Oh, they didn't make it. They have a top 5 pick, and they beat the Eagles. These teams played earlier this year. I think the Eagles won fairly comfortably. But last week, Jalen Hurts looked like he busted his finger. It looked pretty terrible. AJ Brown got shaken up. I mean, I guess they're trying to win the division, but they're not coming into this game totally healthy. Baker Mayfield will get some comeback player of the year votes because Mike Evans is very good at football. And
Mike Evans has carried 2 mid-ass quarterbacks in his career. Johnny Manziel at A&M and now Baker Mayfield. And Winston. 3 of them.
That said, the Eagles can't push on every play and just get down the field.
Just watch them. They'll try. Just watch them.
I'm taking Tampa fairly convincingly, not high scoring though, 21-7, just because if AJ Brown's not 100%, there goes a big part of their offense. Hurts' hand looked pretty bad. I don't know how his throws are going to be if they'll be on point.
So
I'm low on Philly.
So I'm gonna pitch this question to you two because I kind of got throttled for it last week on Jalen Hurts. Ryan and Trent said that I was on one for saying that Jalen Hurts isn't a very good quarterback. Like he's okay, but I'm not putting him over the mid-Doza line as I outlined. Like the Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Tua. I'm not confidently putting Hurts over that. Does anybody feel similar?
If Jalen Hurts was a really good quarterback, losing Shane Steichen wouldn't have hurt as much as it did. That offensive coordinator made that quarterback look a lot better. He's a great athlete. He's a fair thrower of the ball, but he's
Like I'm not saying he's trash, but
no,
he's not.
He's about an average quarterback as far as reading a defense, throwing the ball. Without the tush push, his production's going to be cut in half touchdown wise.
MVT, what do you think? Was I a little too harsh on him last week?
I am a fan of Hurts. The dude's got a lot of heart. He took being benched at Alabama in stride. He went to Oklahoma. He did his thing again. He went to Philadelphia. People were thinking that was a questionable choice. And he's really just shined in a lot of situations. I know it's been a rough year. I do think that changing offensive coordinators has a lot to do with it, but I do not think that diminishes what the guy is able to do on the field. I don't think it's a bad tier to be in to be considered next to like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. I think those are solid quarterback guys.
Oh, I do too. But like, I'm not on this like cloud nine where it's like Jalen Hurts is like a top 5 dude.
No.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Like he's back in top 10 on his good days.
Yeah, 11 to 15 range. Like you're still
exactly what I said. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback.
Quarterbacks. Yeah, that's fair, and like that's coming from a guy who does like Hurts.
All right, so I was just making sure that I have some backing on that.
And of course, Jalen Hurts is an important part of the Richlands Raiders, so I love him, but I'm just speaking truth on here.
You love him so much, you trade block him like 80 times a year.
Because he was looking.
We need to just get the BCDL.
Actually, you know what? To be fair, I trade block Jordan Love like 5 times, so it's like
we need a league podcast. That'd be something.
That would be sick. Yeah.
Put that
podcast
on the
podcast should live stream the draft.
That could be something. That could be something for the draft chat. We'll have to put a pin in that. MVT is full of good ideas. But this was the end of the show. We've reached the end. Elsio, MVT, thank you so much for coming on. You guys were an absolute pleasure to have on this week. Very glad that we pitched it, that you took it. Next week, we're going to have Ken back. We're going to have my boy Miles Hill live from the hammock. We haven't worked together since, God, I was a freshman in college, which was 4 years ago.
You still got your Lamar jersey from the last time you worked.
It don't fit anymore. I've gained a couple pounds. MVT, what's your jersey size?
Size large.
Damn. All right. Well, this has been the Foxboro BeatCast. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, comment, everything. Share it with your grandmother. I've been your host, Kaleb and Ryan. That's been Ryan Moore. We will see you all next week. Can't say go Pats because they don't play. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.